Hey guys, what's up? It's Eric once again with Advanced Level Automotive. I'm coming to you with a 2006 Ford Mustang, and today we have a kind of a funny one. This car was actually here a week ago, and the customer claims that ever so often the car will stall, and then he can't start it. He lets it sit for about an hour or so, and then he can start it up. So I had the car for a few days, and I could not duplicate the problem. So I basically had the customer bring it back when it was really more frequent, more reoccurring, because he did mention that it would only happen like once every couple weeks or so, and that honestly sometimes just isn't enough for us to be able to warrant having the car that long, you know, and then continuing to drive it until the fault pops up, and you know we'd be spending a lot more time just driving the car and trying to get it to duplicate the problem. But anyway, it just got towed here today, and I just got in the car, and let me show you what we have going on. So when I turn the key on, hopefully it does it. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice is the dashes for the miles, and then it says check charging system and fuel level low, the DTE data error, and of course the driver door. Let me go ahead and shut that. Again, like I said, that check charging system, the DTE odometer data error. One other thing that you will notice, let me cycle the key once again, is the check engine light. If you pay attention, the check engine light does come on. That's an indication that our computer is up and alive, at least for the most part, I would say. So I guess the first thing I want to do is I want to check to see if there's communication with the computer. So I have the scan tool hooked up here. Oh, and I guess I should mention this. It doesn't start. So I'm going to go ahead and try to crank it. Nothing happens. We'll do it again. Nothing happens. So it doesn't crank and doesn't start. So yeah, we have no communication with the PCM. We can probably go back and see if we can check some other modules and see if we're communicating with anything else. No communication with the TCM. So going into the ABS, we have communication with the ABS. You say there's a CAN communication. You can see there's a CAN communication error code in the ABS module. So let's go down to the airbag, check that. No communication. And then the PATs should be built into the PCM on this one, so we shouldn't have any communication if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. No communication. And let's see here. Audio control. We can check the GEM and the instrument cluster. Let's see what we have for that. Well, I didn't catch. What key did it ask for? A K19. Well, before I do that, let me look at the instrument cluster. Okay, so we do have communication with the instrument cluster. Have this B1353 ignition key in circuit open, but we have this U1900 ABS CAN communication fault. So I guess if you want some more information on that, let's see if we can find that in the troubleshooter. B1353. Well, it skips that code. So we can check all data, get some more information on that code. But really what I want to concentrate on is this PCM not communicating. What we need to do is make sure that our powers and grounds to the PCM are there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a wiring diagram and we'll go from there. Alright, so here we are at the wiring diagram. I'm using Mitchell. And if you look over on this side, this is the PCM here. And what we're going to be looking for are the main powers and grounds. So if you look starting at the top here, you can see this pin 10, which is a ground wire. We're going to go ahead and click that, and if you follow this down, We also have these two pins 35 and 36. This may be a little misleading. This description may be a little misleading. It's saying PCM Power Relay out, but this is actually a power into the computer from the PCM Relay. So we're going to be looking at those two pins. Also, we have pin 45, which is this voltage supply. It says voltage supply all time. This comes directly from a fuse that, if we follow it up, that comes from the fuse box, which is this 10 amp fuse 46. And then we also have these grounds right here. So these are the main computer grounds. And if you look, it's on the right front of the engine compartment. So these pins right here, pin 47 through 50. So here we are under the hood. This is the location of the engine computer right here. There's three main connectors that go to it. And initially, the first thing I see that I don't like is if you look at the grounds that come off of this harness, which is directly tied to the computer. On the body, there's a lot of surface rust here. And I wonder if this is giving us a connection problem. So that's probably going to be the first thing that I want to do, is to clean up these grounds and then see if we can find any other grounds that need some attention. There's another ground up here. Looks a little bit better, but we'll clean that one up as well. And then we'll go from there. All right, so it's actually getting dark outside, but before I went home, I went ahead and cleaned these two grounds up that I saw. Wire brushed them. I removed the terminals and brushed it really good and bolted it back down, and did the same with this ground. So I know we have a good connection. I also can verify with the power probe that I do have a good ground connection on all of these. But I'm gonna go inside the vehicle and show you that this still does not fix the problem. So I'm putting the key in right now, key on. There you go, you see those dashes? I'm gonna try to start it, nothing. So I'm gonna go home and continue this tomorrow. All right guys, so I am back. It is the following day. Like I showed you yesterday, we went ahead and cleaned up some grounds. We didn't have any luck with that. So we're gonna go ahead and go straight for the computer check powers and grounds. The C175B connector I've been able to identify as this middle one right here. All right, so we're just gonna cut straight to the point. So we went ahead and back probed pins 35 and 36, which is the PCM relay output to the PCM, and we didn't have power there. I made sure I had good connection. I wiggled it around. I stuck it a few times and I made sure that we had a good connection, but I still didn't have any power getting to the PCM on that circuit. So if we go back to the wiring diagram, all right, so the ones we're concentrating on are going to be pins 35 and 36, which are these PCM relay out. And if you look on this side of the wiring diagram, 9 to 10, we're going to flip over to the next page and we'll zoom in. And here's 9 and 10. And there's a splice right here. If we follow where it splices up and then where it splices over. So if we follow where it splices up, we can see that on this wire right here, it goes to this PCM key off relay. And then on the other side, it goes to the fuse box, and it gets powered through this fuse 42, which is a 15 amp fuse. That fuse is being fed by the PCM Power Relay, which in turn gets part of its power from the directly from the battery, and then the other part of its power on pin 85 comes from a PCM Power diode. This actually makes sense because if you recall, when we first checked the codes on the vehicle, there was a code B1353, which was a code, I think it was stored in the instrument cluster if I'm not mistaken. And that code came up as a description. Let me pull that description up here. B1353, there we go. Okay, so it just says ignition key in circuit open. Source is the instrument cluster. But I really think that that's why that code was coming up, because this ignition feed that's coming through the PCM Power Relay is not reaching this box here. But let's go ahead and concentrate on this PCM Power Relay and see what we find. All right, so on the wiring diagram, we learned that this is where the PCM relay is. I already located it, and what I went ahead and did was I stuck, this is a relay tester. This will help us do quick power checks on this relay circuit here. So again, what we want to do is we want to verify that on this relay circuit we're going to have two powers. And again, let me go ahead and connect my power probe here. One of the powers is going to be coming from the PCM power diode, and the other one's going to be coming straight from the power feed source. So I'm going to go ahead and touch the pins here. That's a ground, that's a ground, that's a power, and that's a ground. So we are missing a power. All right, so the quickest thing that I figured I could do is I went ahead and I removed the power PCM diode, and I actually took the one from the AC compressor. So I'm going to go ahead and try to plug it in place of the one for the PCM. And immediately you can hear what sounds like, I believe, the throttle body. Yeah, the throttle body is now making noise. I think actually because there's no relay in the circuit, so we're going to go ahead and put the relay in. All right, and as soon as I plugged that relay into the circuit, you could hear that it went off. Let's go ahead and try to start the car. All right, so we're inside. I'm gonna go ahead and cycle the key. And we are back in business. Okay, so that just verifies that the PCM power diode was out. Again, all I did to verify was to remove the one from the AC compressor and then move it over to the PCM power diode. All right, so we got our new PCM power diode. There's the part number there, and this is what she looks like right here. So that's going to be a fix. We're going to go ahead and put everything back together. All right, so I'm going to put the key back in, cycle the key on, and there's our trip meter. And let me go ahead and shut the door. And no fault messages popping up. So that's a fix, guys. Again, thank you for watching the video. I hope this content helps somebody, and just stay tuned and look forward to new videos. Thanks.